For centuries, most of us have been living in this kind of split reality, a deep philosophical divide.
You mean the physical world versus the spiritual world?
Exactly. You had the physical, measurable universe over here, and then the spiritual, unseen realm over there. And the dominant view, especially since the Enlightenment, was that the universe was just this cold clockwork machine.
Right, built of solid, inanimate matter, dead stuff, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the spiritual, if it existed at all, was, purely theoretical,
Yeah.
completely separate from how reality actually works.
It was a very rigid separation. Body and soul, never the two shall meet.
Yeah, matter was the foundation, and it was mechanical, your consciousness, your free will.
Yeah.
All of that was just a strange glitch, not part of the cosmic design.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission for this deep dive is to explore a bunch of sources that argue the thing breaking down that wall isn't, some new religion.
It's science.
It's science itself, specifically quantum mechanics. We're going to explore how modern physics is now converging almost perfectly with ancient spiritual philosophy. Monism, right, the oneness of all things. And we'll be looking at some surprising insights from, of all people, the super rationalist Maimonides and the ecstatic Kabbalists.
And we should probably start with the shock factor. The core truth that modern science is telling us is that the universe is not made of solid matter.
At all.
At all. The chair you're sitting on, the ground beneath your feet. It's all fundamentally made of invisible energy fields. And that one idea, that just shatters the whole illusion of separation.
It pulls you into this unified energetic tapestry.
Exactly. And it suggests your personal awareness isn't just some isolated thing. You're an active participant in the very foundation of existence.
That's a huge claim to start with. I mean, if I pinch myself, it feels pretty solid. So let's start with the science and, build the case.
Okay.
Quantum mechanics, and specifically quantum field theory, QFT, what are we actually saying reality is made of?
So we're saying that at the smallest, most fundamental scale, reality is not made of tiny little balls like marbles floating in empty space.
The old Newtonian view.
Right. QFT says there are these fundamental universal fields. An electron field, a photon field, a Higgs field. They permeate the entire universe. They're everywhere.
So then what's the stuff we perceive as matter? An electron? A quark?
Those aren't little marbles. They're actually just temporary, localized
Yeah.
excitations. Or you could call them quantum fluctuations within those fields.
Okay, an excitation. What does that mean in simple terms?
Think of it this way. The field is the basic substance of the universe, like an ocean. The particles are just brief peaks of energy in that field.
Okay, so the analogy here is key. If the electron isn't a marble, what is it?
If the electron is the wave, the field is the ocean.
You can't separate the wave from the water?
You can't. The wave is just a temporary shape of the ocean. The ocean is the fundamental thing. That's what QFT suggests. The basic substance of everything is invisible energy.
And here's where the spiritual connection starts to click into place, which is it's fascinating. If the universe is one continuous ocean of energy,
Then that's scientific validation for monism.
yeah, the unity of existence, our feeling of being separate individuals, it's just a surface illusion. The wave thinking it's separate from the other waves.
Precisely. At the deepest quantum level, the essence of you, me, this microphone, it's all the same single unified energy. Matter is just a form, maybe a lower vibration of that spirit or energy.
And the sources suggest this field isn't just random static, right?
Not at all. They suggest it operates with what appears to be full intelligence and intentionality. In mystical texts, they'd call it godly energy or the divine blueprint.
So the unseen is the foundation, and the seen is just its temporary expression. That's a complete flip of how most of us see the world.
It is.
But if we accept this unity, doesn't that fly in the face of rationalists like Moses Maimonides? The Rambam, he's always quoted as the guy who divorced spirit from nature.
It absolutely contradicts the conventional view of Maimonides, sure. But our sources really challenge that narrow box we've put him in.
How so?
They argue he wasn't trying to strip the world of spirit. He was profoundly good at integrating the spiritual into the natural order.
So why do so many academics miss that?
They focus on his Guide for the Perplexed, where he argues against, picturing God as an old man in the sky. And they assume he's removing God from the equation entirely.
But he wasn't.
No. He consistently acknowledged the miraculous within nature, the power of faith, God's influence on the physical world. He saw physics and metaphysics as, two sides of the very same coin.
And this integrated view was later spelled out in really granular detail by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson.
Who deeply admired Maimonides, yeah.
In Hayom, this collection of daily insights, he details what this divine providence actually means.
And he makes it clear it's not just some, general oversight, like a
Yeah.
CEO checking in once a week.
Right.
It is the life force, the sustaining existence of every single creature, every single action. And that's the connection to the quantum field idea. Every movement is part of the plan.
Wait, down to the smallest detail. How can the movement of a single blade of grass be guided by providence if Maimonides rejected the idea of God constantly intervening with miracles? That sounds like predestination.
And that's the tension, right?
Yeah.
But the insight is that the guidance isn't overriding free will. It's the life force that sustains the potential for the action to happen in the first place.
Okay.
The Rebbe's point is that the specific movement of that one blade of grass is essential. It's necessary to fulfill the overall unified purpose of all creation.
So Maimonides' unified web, the particular movement of any creature, is intrinsically linked to the absolute. It's one huge, interconnected design where every tiny fluctuation serves a single purpose.
Exactly. And when you realize you're part of an intelligent, unified field where every small thing matters, well, it gives profound weight to your own actions, doesn't it? You're not just a random dot. You're a necessary piece of the puzzle.
That's the philosophical blueprint. But if Maimonides gave us the map, how did the mystics try to put this idea of conjunction into actual practice?
That brings us to Rabbi Abraham Abulafia. He's the founder of what we call ecstatic Kabbalah.
And he was a big fan of Maimonides.
Huge. He held the guide for the perplexed in the highest possible regard. He completely accepted Maimonides' definition of the ultimate human goal, but he felt philosophy alone couldn't get you there.
And what was that ultimate goal, according to Maimonides?
Maimonides taught that prophecy was the peak of human achievement, a state where the mind attains conjunction, or divakut.
Divakut, what does that mean, literally?
It means cleaving or adhering to. It's a state where your individual mind merges with the active intellect, which you can think of as that divine flow of consciousness, the unified field we were talking about.
So Abulafia wanted to actually experience that, not just think about it.
Exactly. He thought you needed, for lack of a better term, spiritual technology to unclog the channel to that active intellect.
Okay, spiritual technologies. What did these methods actually involve?
He believed that just studying philosophy wasn't enough to break the barriers of the ego, of the self. So he introduced these practical methods, things like systematic permutation of divine names.
Chochmat Hatzaruf.
That's the one. A rapid internal recitation of letters to just break down your normal conceptual boundaries. And he combined that with specific rhythmic breathing exercises and head movements.
Wait, breathing and head movements? That sounds a lot less like philosophy and more like, I don't know, ancient meditation or biofeedback.
That's a great way to put it. The goal was to create a kind of sensory overload, to confuse the logical mind, so that this divine flow could rush in. The movements and breathing were designed to shift your brain state, to get you beyond the limits of your rational self.
To perceive that unified reality directly.
To experience Deveket, yeah.
And this wasn't some fringe idea, right? This became pretty foundational.
Oh, absolutely. His student, Rabbi Joseph Gikatilla, organized it all in a famous book, Sharai Oruva, The Gates of Light. And that structure heavily influenced later Kabbalah, like the Zohar and the Arizal. This blend of rigor and practice became the bedrock.
Okay, so now we get to what might be the most mind-blowing convergence point, tying all of this together. Philosophy, mysticism, and bleeding-edge science. And it all comes down to the role of awareness and the nature of time.
This is where it gets really strange. We're talking about experiments like the delayed choice quantum eraser.
Which we have to explain simply.
Right. It's a very complex setup, but the result is, well, it's mind-bending. It shows that the act of measurement, your observation done in the future, can apparently change what a particle did in the past.
That's impossible to hear and not have your brain short-circuit. You're saying the observer isn't just passively watching reality.
The observer is actively defining it. The experiment confirms that a quantum particle exists in a state of pure potential, a haze of possibilities, until it's measured. The observation collapses all those possibilities into one definite history.
Observation creates the context of reality.
It creates the past. And what is just truly remarkable is that Maimonides, more than 800 years ago, codified laws in his Mishnah Torah that work on this exact same principle.
The sources we looked at basically say the Torah installed these laws into the fabric of reality, and scientists are just now discovering them.
That's the argument.
So let's nail down this parallel. We're looking at the laws of Chicago, the laws of unintentional transgression. On the surface, it seems purely legalistic.
But the mechanism underneath is pure quantum physics. Maimonides writes that awareness separates between the inadvertent transgressions. The whole thing hinges on consciousness.
How does it work?
Okay, so if you commit a forbidden act multiple times, say 10 times, but you do it during a single continuous period of unawareness, legally, it's considered one single deed. It's one continuous wave of action.
But what happens if consciousness gets involved?
The second you become aware, that sudden sharp moment of, oh, I have sinned, and then you forget again and you do it again, that awareness acts like a quantum measurement.
It breaks the continuity.
It breaks the continuity. It collapses the timeline.
So that one long single deed is now split into two separate acts, requiring two separate remedies.
Exactly. The physical actions were identical, but the awareness changed the past. Just as the quantum measurement determines the particle's history, your moment of spiritual awareness determines the timeline and the nature of your deed. Your consciousness creates your reality.
It's the ultimate synthesis, then. It seems we have to conclude that Maimonides, the Kabbalists, and modern physicists are all describing the same unified reality, just from different angles.
Yes, the spiritual isn't out there. It's the fundamental field from which the physical world emerges.
Your body is a garment for the soul.
Which is a piece of that unified energy.
Mm.
And the Torah is the blueprint for how that energy organizes itself into a creation. The spiritual laws literally dictate the physical laws.
Which means we are not just isolated dots. We are active, conscious participants in a universe that is constantly responding to us. Our awareness has so much more power than we think.
And that leads to the final, incredibly powerful takeaway for you, for anyone listening. Maimonides taught that because of this profound connection, this unified tapestry where every blade of grass matters,
Yeah.
a single good deed, a single moment of awareness, a single act of kindness by just one person has the power to tip the scales
For themselves.
for the entire world, to influence the whole universe toward merit and redemption for each person and for everything.
Wow. So if your simple awareness can literally define the past and break up reality's timeline, just consider what power your next conscious, positive action holds for this unified tapestry we all share. That's a thought that demands you rethink every single moment.